Warning, the podcast you're about to hear has a unique conservative perspective and may be politically incorrect, containing some controversy in its message. This episode may speak out against liberalism, socialism, the dark state, and religious organizations. It is possible that evil in politics, education, law, society, and religion will be discussed and exposed. However, we believe this podcast adds truth and value to a mature, disenfranchised audience who may be tired of apostate religions and wicked world systems. Listeners who are easily offended, overly sensitive, or have progressive leanings sympathetic to the topics we expose should be forewarned not to listen any further. We thank both those who choose to listen as well as those who choose not to listen. You've been warned. And now, let us get on with the show.
Hello, everybody. Today's date is
April 28th, 2017.
And we are
Kapow Radio Show.
something like that. Welcome to Freedom Friday, the Freedom Friday Hour, alternative commentary and narrative.
Alternative news.
Yeah. A little different than mainstream.
A little different than mainstream.
Exactly, parrot. My little parrot. So, we are going to talk about, Ms. Kapow, today. Crazy
Stuff.
There's an uptick in UFO sightings everywhere. This is interesting in that these two people put together a UFO sightings desk reference.
Mm-hmm. I heard it's doing really well.
Yes. Now, they don't put any commentary on it, any narrative, any opinion. They don't give any reasons what these things may or may not be, anything like that. They just document the sightings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty interesting, 371 pages worth. We're going to talk about that and the people who put it together. And then you determine whether it's God language or devil language.
Mm-hmm.
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 And then the second story says broadband and Wi-Fi are more important than clean underwear for some people. It's typical clickbait, title, because there's a little more to this than just clean underwear. But it's interesting to see where our heads are at as a society all over the world. I was going to say globe, but I would offend my flat earth people. So I just say world.
Oh, brother.
I know. But people are very zealous about this stuff.
Mm.
And then how many of you people have heard, you have to have heard by now, because you're sitting around surfing YouTube and podcasts looking for conspiratorial crazies. How many have heard about Operation Gotham Shield?
Gotham Shield.
Yeah, where it was this disaster preparedness drill, where it was going to simulate an EMT attack, this and that. Not a whole lot out there, but, there was a bunch of government agencies involved in it and stuff. And at first it seemed hoaxy, but...
it can't be any more hoaxy than a couple of years ago when San Diego did a one of those preparedness drills for the zombie invasion.
That's right. They did. And now look we got zombies everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Don't you feel better that we practice preparedness?
Yeah, because you have to shoot them in the left ear or they don't go down. It has to be the left ear. That's what we learned. But yeah, they do this all the time. We were, we were involved in this stuff when we worked with cities. You did disaster prep. But this one was about EMT and about cyber attacks and things, and it just seemed a little weird. So a bunch of the researchers on YouTube began to look into this thing. It was a legitimate thing, it seemed like. But about several days before it was supposed to happen, there was total chaos. There was multiple cities around the same time lost power. And it really doesn't seem coincidental. So it could be part of this Operation Gotham Shield. It could have been just not so much a false flag, but a test run type of thing. I don't know, but we're just going to talk about what happened. But I don't have the answers. I know that shocks you. Do you think I do? But I don't, because I'm just a zombie. Hey, and then the very last thing we're going to talk about is absolutely disgusting. It's an older article, 5 years old, yet this, obviously, when we talk about this, it didn't go away, or was it shut down by our society or by our ethics or moral outcry?
Mm-mm.
This is incredible. Though it's a 5-year-old article, the scientific journal that published this was 5 years ago. It just came to our attention the other day, and I thought we should talk about this again because it's still around. Mm-hmm. And it just shows you
it's progressing.
Absolutely. It's the march is forward, and it just shows you how much the sin is being filled up. So that you can look around and go, okay, I do think we're in the last times. I do think it's the end here. It's just one of those deals. And it's disgusting. In fact, I'm going to read the whole article because it's so disgusting. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read every word to you so that you can be disgusted with us. And then I'm going to ruin your weekend because that's what we do. It's killing babies is no different from abortion, these experts say, and I kid you not. So that's the coup de grace.
Exactly.
So before we get to the coup de grace, we're going to have Ms. Kapow give her favorite scripture of the day.
Okay, the scriptures I have are about the abominations unto the Lord. So I have a couple of them from Proverbs. The first one is Proverbs 12:22. It says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord. Proverbs 15:8 says, the sacrifice of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord. Proverbs 16:5 says, everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination unto the Lord. Proverbs 28:9 says that he that turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. Proverbs 11:20, they that are of a forward heart are abomination to the Lord. Proverbs 20:10 says, divers weights and divers measures, both of them are alike an abomination to the Lord. And the last one is Proverbs 15:26, which says, the thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. Then when I go up to Galatians 5:19 through 21 says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, adultery, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in the past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
Wow. Well, I wonder what planet that sounds like. Mars? Don't think so.
It will once they infiltrate that place.
That's right.
But for right now, it's Earth.
I just want to ask a question about one of those scriptures. I'm sure you're going to answer it. In the very beginning, it said lion lips are an abomination. Now, why just lions? Why not tigers or cheetahs?
Because of their gender. You ask a stupid question, you are going to get a stupid answer.
Do chickens have lips? And are they an abomination to the Lord? Or just lions' lips? You get it?
Yeah.
I make a funny.
You make a funny. I laughing.
Laugh. People are seeing UFOs. Why? Because they're crazy. Okay, you want Paul's opinion?
Sure.
There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why these things are floating around and doing stuff and what they are, and you got a lot of demonic entities, doing the whole gray alien thing and all that nonsense. And I've experienced that intense fear of having, a dream, I would say, of a alien abduction.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced that intense fear, and I'm telling you, it's not from God. So to focus on these things is it's not of God. But anyway, everybody knows that story, how I got involved in all the UFO junk, and I got too deep into it. And then I got slapped. This is from Syracuse, New York. And we can't deny that these things do exist, that they're out there. They are unidentified to a great measure, not all of them. And there are blinky lights and weird things in the sky, and that there's more and more of them. My opinion is that interdimensional beings, just like demons, everybody knows demons exist because, you're attacked by them all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And probably as you're listening to the show, you're being attacked by a demon bothering you to some degree, in your body or in your spirit, in your mind, because they just never go away. They're punks till Judgment Day. And they're interdimensional beings. They're things, they're entities you can't see.
Right.
That's what I believe these things are. They're coming in and out of portals.
And thanks to CERN, you've got more.
That's a real good point, because as CERN, their whole purpose is to open up these portals, open up these gateways to parallel universes, and to bring in these other entities. And for whatever reasons, they do these things. I do believe it has an effect on all of us. And I think that's why you're seeing an increase in these sightings. Once again, it just shows you the filling up as of the days of Noah. So will be the days of the coming of the Son of Man.
Amen.
And it's the filling up of these entities, these fallen angels, these hybrids, on, and you see more and more of it. But anyway, this is interesting. Syracuse, New York. They asked the question, why have sightings of unidentified flying objects around the nation more than tripled since 2001? And they can prove this, so it's not just speculation. It's tripled since 2001. I think that's a valid question. Why, Ms. Kapow? Why?
Exactly.
I don't know if it has anything to do with lion lips or tiger lips, but it has something to do with some lipithithith. Why is July the busiest month for UFO sightings? Why?
Because that's when they take vacation, travel.
You know what? That's just like the movie Predator. I think you're right. The Predator comes down and he hunts humans.
Yes.
In July.
In July.
And then he makes noises like this. Yeah. Whatever you did. You do it better. Why did UFO sightings spike in Texas in 2008? And don't say because of Obama.
Because of the oil. They don't like water.
They like oil. Or in New Mexico in September 2015.
Well, they like tacos.
They like tacos. They like new Mexicans. They don't like the old Mexicans. They like new Mexicans.
Because they have old tacos.
Exactly. No one wants old tacos. And how in the world or out of it...
And there's no wall.
That's right. Because we got New Mexico in the United States, so you don't have to build a wall to keep the New Mexicans out.
That's right.
Yeah. Thumb your thumbs up on that. And how in the world or out of it has Manhattan racked up New York State's second highest tally of UFO sightings in this century?
Well, that's a good one.
No, that's obvious. Come on, Manhattan. Trump Tower. It's Trump's fault the UFOs are in New York.
Plus, they have a lot of shows there.
They do. A lot of Broadway shows. Aliens love Broadway shows. How in the world other things happen? These are the questions. And these questions emerge from the first, mind you, the very first comprehensive statistical summary of so-called close encounters. 121,000 eyewitness accounts.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's organized county by county in each state and the District of Columbia from 2001 to 2015. That's only, a 4 years? I mean, I'm sorry, like a 14-year span.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So it is called UFO Sightings Desreference. It's the work of a couple in Syracuse. You're gonna love the personal life about this couple, and then you're gonna ask yourself, is this inspired of God or of the devil?
Yeah.
Okay, so this couple, they crunched unruly data on UFO reports collected by 2 volunteer organizations. That's MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and New Fork, not Old Fork, New Fork, the National UFO Reporting Center. Okay, get it straight.
Yeah.
In the reference, UFO researchers dreamed of having this. I mean, they put it all together. There's this professor of physics and astronomy at Sonoma State University in California, and he wrote the foreword, and he says, we should have had this a long time ago.
Yep.
So these people really did a good job. The book contains no narrative. There's no anecdotal accounts. There's just 371 pages of charts, graphs. They slice and dice the geography, the timing of incidents, the various shapes that witnesses reported. There's flying circles, there's spheres, there's triangles, there's discs, there's ovals, there's cigars. There's even UFOs that look like Brother Kapow.
Yeah, I think the book is like $32 on Amazon or something.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, if people were really into like all the sightings, that's your reference to have. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can watch it on YouTube, whatever you want to do. Many of the sightings turn out to be explainable, which is cool. I like that because they're not just going off and going, They're saying many of them turn out to be explainable. You know, it's swamp gas, it's a balloon, it's a butterfly.
There are some that they can't.
Yeah. There's other ones that they cannot explain. They defy resolution.
Well, tell them about the authors.
The authors. Okay, the first author, now check this out. Remember this name, Cheryl Costa. 65 years old. Cheryl Costa. A former military technician and aerospace analyst. And her wife, Linda Miller Costa, 62 years old, a librarian at La Monnaie College, and a former librarian at the National Academy of Sciences, NASA, and the Environmental Protection Agency. So you're saying, Brother Kapow, so what? They're lesbians. There's a lot of lesbians. Get over it. Lesbians are everywhere. Cheryl and Linda are gay married. No big deal. But, nay, I got more. I got more. You see, here's the deal. Cheryl Costa served, as a cable line man in the Air Force in Vietnam, and afterward in the Navy submarine service. She was a man. Cheryl Costa was a man before undergoing gender reassignment surgery in the 80s. It is also an ordained Buddhist nun. It was running a theater group in Maryland when it met Linda, and they got married in 2011 after falling in love. So Linda married Cheryl, who's a false woman, which makes her gay, but the false woman's really a dude.
So does that make Linda lesbian?
It makes Linda a heterosexual / lesbian thing. So these two decided to go document and research all the UFO tracking. Okay, so you get it? You get the spirit? You get where the spirit's coming from?
I hear you.
So that kind of answers a lot of questions. And, if you think, well, are these good? Are these bad? Maybe it's the Lord. Okay, you know what I'm saying? There's a reason why these people were given this knowledge and this ability to...
They're open to it.
Yeah, to put this together. So this reference reminds the public and the media that extraterrestrial phenomenon continues unabated. And so everybody's all happy about this, and it's a labor of love, okay? It's a labor of love.
Alrighty then.
All right. So then it goes on about UFO stuff. But anyway, I just thought the article was somewhat interesting.
Very interesting.
Because of...
the authors.
Yeah, the authors, and I think that's important.
It is important.
Because, I mean, you could listen to music, and it depends on who's making the music, what kind of spirit comes out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, you could read a book, and it depends, on the authors of the book, what kind of spirit comes out of it. So that, these two folks, as confused as they are putting it all together as far as UFO sightings go in a reference manual.
Mm-hmm.
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 Mm-hmm. Yes. Speaking of confusion, this isn't on my list, but today on my Facebook, on my phone, I get this advertisement, this sponsored ad, and lo and behold, it's Greg Laurie.
Oh.
Pastor Greg Laurie from Harvest Church in Riverside, California. I worked in Riverside. I've been at his church a million times for funerals. I used to eat there and things like that. Greg Laurie's on my Facebook thing, advertising. He's walking around doing his cool Greg Laurie hipster thing. And they're talking about evangelism, about about witnessing individually. And so Greg Laurie does these big rock concert stadium, with skaters and rock bands and UFOs, whatever, to attract people so they can come down and say a sinner's prayer and get Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no follow-up, by the way. They farmed that out to local churches. That's true. That's a fact. And whether or not the local churches ever follow up with people, I don't know, because I know the ones we went to never did. So he's coming on and he's saying those people, you're having a hard time, witnessing to individuals. Well, anyway, he has this course. He's offering a course for free. Just click that button and you're going to get videos, you're going to get resources, and I'm sure there's nothing behind it. I'm sure they're not selling other materials or other books or part two. Yeah. I'm sure it's all free because out of the goodness of their heart, Harvest, which last time I knew was like the 11th largest church in the nation, they want you to be able to evangelize people that and they're going to help you do that for free. And guess what? After you take the course, you even get a certificate. No kidding. Well, Jesus' disciple they got certificates. Remember at the Last Supper when Jesus says, "This is my body," and blah, blah. And he goes, "By the way, I want to give Peter a certificate. I want to give, John a certificate for being, And now they're certified. They're certified disciples. And it's biblical. Don't make fun of me. Don't judge me. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Greg Laurie was popping up, and I can't say they're selling something. They're giving it away for free, but there's nothing for free. Of course, I didn't click the link, because I don't want them coming over here and trying to witness to me and get me saved under the Harvest Church. Okay. This title is a little misleading. It's kind of clickbaitish, so I don't dig that. But yet the article's kind of interesting to see where our head's at in society, Ms. Capel.
Oh, right.
It's from Variety.
Variety.
Yeah, it says broadband Wi-Fi are more important than clean underwear for apartment dwellers. That's a survey. Okay. Here's the deal. Apartment renters, whoever those might be, high-speed internet and Wi-Fi are more important amenities than having in-room laundry facilities, according to a new survey.
Really?
Yeah. But see, that's different than more important than having clean underwear. See, they took that next step to put that in the title to get you to click on it. There's nothing in it where people are asked, would you rather have a Wi-Fi or clean underwear? That was never the question. It was, would you rather have in-room laundry facilities or Wi-Fi? And they would rather have Wi-Fi.
Sure.
Okay, so you can make the assumption that they would rather wear dirty clothes, or you can say they would just rather walk down to a laundromat.
That's right.
Than not have Wi-Fi. So, let's be reasonable here.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, though, in light of where our heads are at. 34% of respondents ranked Wi-Fi access as the most important feature for apartment living, followed by 25% who said high-speed internet was number one. They kind of go hand in hand. I think that's weird. You know what I mean? Because you can't really have Wi-Fi. Why would you have Wi-Fi without high-speed internet? Nah. Okay.
Yeah.
Per a survey commissioned by Comcast Xfinity Communities. The cable giants division dedicated to multi-dwelling units. And 13% of those surveyed said having a washer and dryer in the apartment was the most critical factor. So only 13% cared about at least the convenience of washing and drying your clothes right there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean they're dirty. It just
No.
The convenience didn't mean anything to them. They'd rather have Wi-Fi or high-speed internet, probably because you can get on there and you can find a laundromat within a few miles. You can ride your bike or your skateboard and wash your poopy diapers. Right? I'm just saying. The poll was conducted from 205 building managers, building owners, real estate developers, multifamily properties in the U.S. between, December and I think July or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. They had a margin of error of 5.8%. Among those surveyed 87%.
Can you say that again?
87% agreed that technology plays either an extremely important or very important role in keeping residents satisfied. 75% said most prospective residents ask about communication services, internet, phone, TV, prior to renting. Okay. Other findings from the survey said 30% said they believe quality communication services boost property values at least 20%.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Well, when we sold our home in California, we're on a ranch, and I had to use what they call a cantana from Verizon, and it was Wi-Fi, and you had to apply for it and see if you fit the criteria. You had to live out in the rural area, and, on the boondocks somewhere. And but anyway, I was able to hit Verizon Wi-Fi, and it was fast. Mm-hmm. And that's how I ran internet out there. But when we sold the house, that was a big thing. We had one guy come in there and actually, who did he work for now? He worked for some.
I don't remember.
It was some airline thing. It was some secret.
Yeah, it was. But it was. But he worked on that computer.
Yeah,
because he worked from home, so that was very important for him to have.
Yeah,
good service.
He brought in his high-tech Secret Service stuff and hooked it up and had to test everything. It was a trip. I was hoping that little, guys and men in black were going to knock on my door afterwards. Like, we accessed something from my ISP address or something that we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so I can understand that. It's a big thing. 88% agreed that tenants in the range of 18 to 34 prefer high-tech amenities more than residents 52 plus.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
you're over 50, you're like, what's on television?
Yeah.
Right? And then when you're younger, you were raised with this stuff. Mm-hmm. 82% said they installed the latest technology in order to future-proof their properties.
Yeah, I can see that.
And 60% said they plan to make improvements related to energy efficiency this year. So, why is that a big deal? Well, only that's where we're at. And when you're talking about cyber attacks or Operation Gotham Shield or power outages, not only are we dependent on electricity, but we're dependent on this whole, what do they call it? This whole interweb thing.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it's a very convenient way for government entities to look at their people.
Yeah. The snooping. They like the snooping. And I tell you what, it's there's a lot of good with it. I mean, my goodness, I still remember the days. Occasionally, you'd find me in the library to look something up. Probably usually because I had to, because it was a project assignment at school or something. But today I forgot what it was. I looked up the other day. It was guitar pickups. Remember that? How to change out guitar pots on a a Fender Stratocaster. So, long story. But anyway, I'm on YouTube, and I'm watching these wonderful technicians explain how to solder, a new pot into your Fender Stratocaster, a guitar. And it was just amazed. And I even said to Miss Kapow, I go, isn't this incredible? I mean, if you didn't have this at your fingertips, how would I get this knowledge? I probably wouldn't. I'd have to, take it to
you'd have to take it to
somebody who knows what they're doing. So, there's some good in it.
Yeah.
But along
like
with
anything else, it has two sides.
Two sides. Yeah. Two sides.
They sell it to you as a good thing,
yeah.
and then they use it for evil.
Yeah. What's that Genesis 50 principle where what Satan, meant for bad, God turned to good? It's the opposite, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Did I make sense? I don't know. I was talking about pots.
I
was talking about guitar pots, and I got a little high.
Yeah.
Okay. It's legal in Nevada. Don't judge me.
I don't judge you.
Total chaos. Cyber attack feared as multiple cities hit with simultaneous power grid failures. I know. I know. When
I read this, I thought I was very suspicious.
Yes.
And I thought, they're testing something.
Yes. It came right at the time of this Operation Gotham Shield. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look that up. It's all over YouTube. It's all over the internet. Operation Gotham Shield. And a few of the people had discovered it ahead of time and started researching it and questioning it and contacting these agencies and these different people that were involved in this drill to see what exactly was going to take place.
Right. And
it was very secretive, and there was a lot of government stuff involved in it, and very secretive. And then you have this thing happen, like, I think it was like a week before or something. It says the U.S. power grid appears to have been hit with multiple power outages affecting San Francisco, New York, and Los Angeles. I mean, those are three huge main power hubs. Yeah. I mean, you got the port of L.A. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of things coming and going out of those huge cities. Officials report that business traffic and day-to-day life has come to a standstill in San Francisco. Reportedly, the worst hit of the three major cities currently experiencing outages. Right? So you might say, well, it's just a power outage. Let's not get all wrapped up in the fear porn. But
if you really think about it.
Let me read on. It's a little strange. It's a little strange. Power companies in all three regions have yet to elaborate on the cause. Though a fire at a substation was the original reason given by San Francisco officials. A fire. Remember last week we talked about April being Conflagration Month. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I just did a search. I just on the news, just like flames, fires, and even around here locally, all kinds of things are just
popping up,
catching on fire. Yeah, not some were arsons. Like there was a dude that committed 2 arsons on the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, but also other hotels were lit on fire. I forget their names, but several of them. Mm-hmm. There was some trash truck that just caught on fire. There was a $700 motorhome that caught on fire. 700,000. Can you imagine having a motorhome that costs $700,000? No. Yeah.
Hello, it wouldn't
America.
Be on the street. I wouldn't be driving it.
No, that's America for you, man. And it was going through the gorge from here to Utah and this little mountainous area, and it caught on fire. A $700,000 machine.
Ugh.
Wow. And there's all kinds of little conflagrations. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. So a series of subsequent power outages in Los Angeles. San Francisco, New York left commuters stranded. Traffic backed up on Friday morning. That was last Friday. Although the outages occurred around the same time, there is, as of yet, no evidence that they were connected by anything more than coincidence. Now, don't you find that just a tad bit strange?
Mm-hmm.
The first outage occurred at 7:20 a.m. in New York. When the power went down at the 7th Avenue and 53rd Street subway station, which sent a shockwave of significant delays out from the hub and into the rest of the subway system. I can imagine. By 11:30, what is that? 4 hours later, the generators were up and running, and even though trains were delayed, they were still able to kind of get it going. Okay, that's cool, but that's kind of a good test, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And there's pictures of this hellish commute, apparently. Later in the morning, in the morning.
Mm-hmm. That's when most people are getting ready for work. Yeah.
Matter of fact, this was at 11:22 a.m. Pacific time. When I'm looking at a map of all the outages that occurred in Los Angeles, the international airport, as well as other areas around that city, were just shut down. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. So it went from like San Francisco all the way down to L.A.
Mm.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with California, that's a ways. A lot of it. It affected things like, Burbank, Glendale, West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Inglewood. Yeah. All experiencing outages. San Francisco Fire Department responded to more than 100 calls for service.
Yeah, you can imagine the chaos.
20 elevators with people stuck inside.
Ugh, that's awful.
Sirens were blaring, engines maneuvered along streets, jammed with traffic. Traffic lights were out at scores of intersections. Cars were backing up on downtown streets. Drivers grew frustrated and honked at each other.
And can you imagine the anxiety? That this creates?
And just think, this was just a few hours, Ms. Kapow.
Yeah.
Like I always say, give it 3 days and you will see anarchy.
Yep.
Somebody wrote one time, we're only 9 meals away.
Yeah, that's right. And I like the way he put that.
Skip 9 meals and you watch what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You watch what happens to people. And never mind, take away your Wi-Fi and your Facebook and your Twitter and your Instagram accounts.
I know.
Wow. And that's all run on electricity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really think about it.
The cause of the outage has not been made clear.
Of course not.
Though given the current geopolitical climate, it's not out of the question to suggest a cyber attack could be to blame. I don't think so. I think
it was on purpose.
Yeah.
Inside.
It's also been suggested, right here in this article, it says that that suggested that it could be the result of a secretive nuclear EMP drill by the federal government. And that's what I'm talking about, Operation Gotham Shield. I think this was it. I really do. And I don't think it was supposed to be out, but a couple of crazy YouTube people got a hold of it and started researching it. Maybe that's why it didn't get out of hand. I don't know. But anyway, it goes on and talks about how vulnerable we are. In 2016, there was a report that noted our entire way of life has been left vulnerable to anybody who can get in there and just cause blackouts. And it isn't just EMPs and natural disaster that pose a threat to the grid, but there's also potential for attacks on individual power stations.
Sure.
All over the place. A U.S. government study established that there would be major extended blackouts if more than 3 key substations were destroyed. Wow.
Well, everything's connected to the grid.
Everything.
So you wipe that out and everything's going to be affected.
The Navajo Indians, on some of their prophecies, they talked about the end days, and they saw this spider web, this web covering the earth. And I thought that was interesting. Of course, a lot of people think it's the World Wide Web, but I would think it was more like the power grid. Yeah. It covered the whole thing because everything runs on that. And you are very vulnerable. So there's not a whole lot you can do. But I just thought that was interesting in light of this Operation Gotham Shield. And then all of a sudden you have 3 major cities in total chaos for a couple hours. Just a couple hours. You can imagine what would happen. Yep. So get your beans and weenies.
And peanut butter.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter.
Okay, Ms. Kapow, before we do this last story, we're going to take a short commercial break.
All right.
And then we're going to end with this very depressing article for everybody's weekend. All right.
The Kapow Radio Show Network produces high-quality podcasts that you definitely want to hear. So stick around and get prepared to stimulate your spirit.
Be advised that depending on the make and model number of any given robot, there may be certain features in their makeup which predispose them to antisocial behavior. It is best to avoid these robots or to limit the time you are in contact with them. If a robot has locked its targeting system on you, remember the SKS rule. Stop, kneel, and surrender.
Hello, you're listening to the Kapow Radio Show Network on Blog Talk Radio. The Kapow Radio Show with your hosts, Paul and Linda, is heard every Monday night. And the Patrick Meekin program airs every Wednesday night. Then, on Friday, hear the Freedom Friday Hour. All shows air 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern. Please visit kapowradioshow.com for further information.
And we're back. Are you back, Miss Kapow?
I'm back.
Where'd you go?
I'm right here.
Where'd you go during the break?
I stayed right here.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I thought
you can't see me.
I thought you got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I wish.
Okay, this is a horrible article we're going to leave you with. I need to read the whole thing to you because you have to hear this. Like I said, this was written 5 years ago, and it's only an article about the scientific journal that this came out in. Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm not reading the scientific journal. I'm just reading the article about it. And there are dozens of articles about this.
Oh, yeah.
That talk about this. This is just one. Mm-hmm. This is from the Telegraph. So it has to be true. Now, seriously, this is horrible, folks. The title is Killing Babies No Different from Abortion, experts say. This isn't clickbait. This is what the article's about. Parents should be allowed to have their newborn babies killed because they are morally irrelevant, quote unquote, morally irrelevant. And ending their lives is no difference than abortion. Mm-hmm. A group of medical ethicists linked to Oxford University has argued.
Yep.
Did you catch that? Number one, ending their lives is no different to abortion. So you have to accept the premise that abortion is morally acceptable in order to then accept this idea mm-hmm. that newborn babies are just as morally irrelevant as a fetus. You see the slope?
Yep.
So it's not just abortion. Mm-hmm. It's not just gay marriage. It's not just transgenderism. It's not just pedophilia. It's not just bestiality. It goes deeper and deeper into Sheol, mm-hmm. into the pits of hell. These demonic fallen angels and their hybrids have destroyed this earth.
Yep.
And they will continue to do so until God enacts his judgment. Maranatha, come soon.
Amen. Amen.
The article was published in the Journal of Medical Ethics, and it says newborn babies are not actual persons.
Yep.
And do not have a moral right to life. The academics also argue that parents should be able to have their baby killed if it turns out to be disabled when it is born.
Yep. And that's basically what they're putting everything on. They're supporting their lie with that.
It sounds like eugenics, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And also, not just babies with deformities and whatnot, but if a woman doesn't have if the baby doesn't have the right gender, for instance, if the baby came out as a girl but they really wanted a boy, then they would have that right to murder this child.
Yeah, and that's that slippery slope, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're morally irrelevant and they're not actual persons and they don't have a moral right to life, what does it matter if they're male or female?
That's right.
I wanted a boy and I got a female.
Dang it.
I wanted it to have blue eyes and it has brown eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't end. The journal's editor Professor Julian Savoluscu. He's the director of the Oxford Uehiro Center for Practical Ethics. Said the article's authors had received death threats since publishing the article. This is 2012, by the way. Mm-hmm. He said those who made abusive and threatening posts about the study were, quote, fanatics opposed to the very values of a liberal society, end of quote. Wow. It's okay for you guys to theorize about killing small infants, but if you get threatened, oh my God, no, we're culturally relevant. We're morally relevant.
Wow.
We're actual persons. We have a moral right to life. Oh, they don't like it. You bunch of bleep freaking peanut butter butterfinger son.
Yeah.
I just fleshed out there for a second. It's okay, man. The article entitled, check this out, folks. After birth abortion, why should the baby live? Oh. End of quote. I'm going to read that again. They wrote an article. It was entitled After Birth Abortion, Why Should the Baby Live? Mm. It was written by two of Professor Savuluscu's former associates, Alberto Giobellini and Francisca Minerva.
Mm. Wow.
Unbelievable. Here's what they argued, quote, the moral status of an infant is equivalent to that of a fetus in the sense that both lack those properties that justify the attribution of a right to life to an individual. Rather than being actual persons, newborns were potential persons. They explained, both a fetus and a newborn certainly are human beings and potential persons, but neither is a person in the sense of subject of a moral right to life.
And you're looking, what?
Wow. But in order for this to work, Ms. Kapow, you have to accept abortion as morally acceptable. Or otherwise this wouldn't work. If you say, well, abortion is not acceptable because that's a life. And if you say it's immoral to kill a life, if you say God said do not kill, and you say that, well, then you can't kill an infant for any reason. You can't commit murder. How simple is that? God just says, thou shalt not commit murder. That's all he says. It covers everything. But these scientists, these brain surgeons, here's what they come up with. And it goes on. It says, we take person to mean an individual who's capable of attributing to her own existence some, at least basic value, such that being deprived of this existence represents a loss to her.
What?
Wow. So I don't know how long it takes for a potential person to become a person, to say, now if you kill me, it'll be a loss to me. Is that at age 2 or 3 or 5? Or are they brain dead till they're age 10? I mean, who determines that? Mm-hmm. Francisca, who determines that? I want to know. As such, they argued it was not possible to damage a newborn by preventing her from developing the potentiality to become a person in the morally relevant sense. Mm. The authors therefore concluded that what we call after-birth abortion, which is killing a newborn, by the way, should be permissible in all the cases where abortion is, including cases where the newborn is not disabled.
Wow.
So if you can abort the kid, for whatever reason you want to abort the kid, you could kill the kid. They also argued that parents should be able to have the baby killed if it turned out to be disabled without their knowing before birth. For example, citing that only the 64% of Down's syndrome cases in Europe are diagnosed by prenatal testing. Once such children were born, there was no choice for the parents but to keep the child. Is this horrible? I am sorry, folks.
I know, it's making me
This
sick.
is just so horrible, but I have to do this because what we do is expose the evil. And that's what this is. These words that I read will linger throughout eternity, and they witness against them. That's why I have to do it. I'm sorry. Shut your ears, whatever. I have to do it. To bring up such children might be an unbearable burden on the family and on society as a whole when the state economically provides for their care.
See, the bottom line is always money, isn't it?
It is. It is. Because they don't care about parents or mothers or fathers, families. No. It's eugenics.
Yep.
It's the same stuff we created here that the Nazis took. And
it's no different than when the Nazis would take these newborn Jewish babies and toss them out the window.
Yep, it's the same thing. It's eugenics. It's Dr. Mengele. It's the angel of death.
Yuck.
Interesting that they call him angel of death, right? Fallen angel. Wow. It's our Planned Parenthood. It's our abortion clinics. It's the same thing. It goes way beyond just what you see on the surface. However, they did not argue that some baby killings were more justifiable than others. Their fundamental point was that morally, there was no difference to abortion as already practiced. That's what I mean. You have to accept that. They preferred to use the phrase after birth abortion rather than infanticide, killing an infant, to emphasize that the moral status of the individual killed is comparable with that of a fetus. Dude, and where does it stop?
I know it.
Say you have a 30-year-old man, but he's kind of brain dead. You know, he never quite got it. And he's kind of, doesn't quite get it. He's a little slow. And you go, you know what? I don't think he's gonna lose anything by not being here.
Mm-hmm. He's irrelevant now.
He's irrelevant.
He
He's morally
can't
irrelevant.
contribute anything to society. So,
And so these people are telling we can just let live or kill whoever we want. Both Minerva and Gio Bellini know Professor Savuluscu through Oxford. Minerva was a research associate at the Oxford Center for Practical Ethics until last June, when she moved to the Center for Applied Philosophy and Public Ethics at Melbourne University. That's in Australia. Can you imagine the kids, the young people that this idiot is teaching, that she's reaching out to, that you got to take her course? And how many of these people are believing this nonsense? Gio Bellini is a former visiting student at Cambridge University. He gave a talk in January to Oxford Martin School. It was titled, "What is the problem with euthanasia?" Well, these people are murderers.
Yeah.
These people have the spirit of murder.
Yep, definitely.
And as I read this article, it witnesses against him throughout eternity. I kid you not. Mark my words. I guarantee you it witnesses against them on that day of judgment. It
Amen.
goes
Yes.
out.
Mm-hmm.
It goes out. And everybody who's exposed this, those words go out. They cannot argue. We didn't know. No one told us. Beep, 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 beep. And you could burn in eternity in the lake of fire and see how morally irrelevant you are.
Right.
When you kill God's creation, when you kill God's image, and you violate his laws willingly over and over again.
And you murder these little babies.
It's better to tie a millstone, a big old huge rock around your neck, and throw yourself in. Just be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
So defending the decision to publish this trash in a British medical journal blog, Professor Savuluscu said that arguments in favor of killing newborns were largely not new. What Minerva and Gio Bellini did was apply these arguments in consideration of maternal and family interests.
Sure.
Oh, not financial interests.
No.
While accepting that many people would disagree with their arguments, he wrote, "The goal of the Journal of Medical Ethics is not to present the truth or promote some one moral view. It is to present well-reasoned argument based on widely accepted premises. You're an idiot.
Yeah, and everything they say is gobbledygook. Doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't. And if you didn't think it was truth, then why did you even publish it?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking to the Daily Telegraph, he added, the debate has been an example of witch ethics. A group of people know who the witch is and seek to burn her. It is one of the most dangerous human tendencies we have. Oh, he's pointing his finger at these other people.
Yeah, he is.
He says...
They're the bad guys.
Yeah, they're the bad guys. He says it leads to lynching and genocide. And that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. It's okay for me to do genocide on little babies.
Because they're irrelevant.
They're irrelevant. But now you're threatening me. That's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Because he's relevant.
Rather than argue and engage, there is a drive to silence and into the extreme to kill based on their own moral certainty. That is not the sort of society we should live in. I want to stab this guy in the face. I'm one of those dudes that would be angry. I'm that guy he's talking about with moral certainty. Oh, good Lord. And then he says in the journal, the journal would consider publishing an article positing that if there was no moral difference between abortion and killing newborns, then abortion too should be illegal. And there you have it. Really, there you have it.
They're just trying to justify their murders.
Yeah. If there's no moral difference between killing a newborn and aborting, then if it would be illegal to kill a newborn child, then it should be illegal killing a fetus.
Mm-hmm.
See, but you can't have that because it's legal to kill a fetus, and that's what we do. So their whole house of cards would crumble. Dr. Trevor Stammers, the director of medical ethics, at St. Mary's University College said, if a mother does smother her child with a blanket, this isn't quotes, folks. If a mother does smother her child with a blanket, we say it doesn't matter. She can get another one. Is that what we want to happen? Holy moly. He goes on, what these young colleagues are spelling out is what we would be the inevitable endpoint of a road that ethical philosophers in the States and Australia have all been treading for a long time, and there is certainly nothing new. So in other words, don't even question us. We've been talking about this for a long time. This is where we're going. Referring to the term after-birth abortion, Dr. Stammers added, this is just verbal manipulation that is not philosophy. I might refer to abortion henceforth as antenatal infanticide. Infanticide.
See, if you just give it a pretty name, then it's not really that ugly, is it?
No. That's the end. That's the end of the ugliness.
I don't like it.
That is the poop sandwich of the day. My Lord, I got to tell you, it's a 2012 article. But Ms. Kapow, didn't you found some stuff that's, 2014?
Oh, yeah, about the gender thing. You know, if the couple has a child that doesn't meet their expectation, they wanted a boy, but now they have a girl, they can actually have it murdered. And that was like 2014.
Yeah, that was in an article that she found in 2014. So it's not like they came out with this and then they were shut up because their lives are threatened. It's going on. This is
part of the Agenda 21.
Sustainability. Keep the population at 500 million. It's just anti-Christ, anti-God. It's anti-human. It's anti-image of God. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable, but yet it is believable because here we are. And I share it for two reasons. It exposes It's a witness against them.
That's
Either
right.
witness to, for, or against. That's a witness against.
So now do we let the mothers and the parents that actually killed their children, their little toddlers, do they get to go free now?
Well, apparently, ethically, morally, they should, because there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-mm.
It's like euthanizing your dog. It's your dog. I don't think my dog would know. It wouldn't know. Oh, I sense a loss. I'm not an actual person. I'm not an actual dog. And so I can euthanize anytime I want because, I don't like the color of its fur or whatever. That's the attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I have one dog. Yeah, I can do that, but the other one's too smart. It would talk back and go, no, nay, nay, nay. I am a sentient being, and I do eat cheese
And chicken.
So, yeah, the other one's kind of stupid. The other one's pretty smart. But it's just horrible. It's just horrible. So I don't have any more horrible things to say, Ms. Capel.
Well, I think that one's a doozy.
That is a doozy.
That one will take. That one takes the cake.
Yeah, it just it sends that fire in your bones, and you just wait. You just wait for that day when Christ will finally set up his throne and do away with wickedness.
Mm-hmm.
Those wicked people, those wicked entities, those wicked fallen angels that have so subverted this creation from day one,
Yep.
when they're finally judged and thrown into the lake of fire and punished eternally for their wickedness, and he comes and brings righteousness and mercy and a real government here.
Amen.
Until that day, I can't sleep very well. And I get a little grumpy.
Yeah.
Okay. Say goodnight, Ms. Capel.
Ciao, baby.